You talk about an incredibly vulnerable story in your book about herpes. Thank you for sharing that, by the way. Do you ever struggle with this now and having to tell people? Does it hinder you in any way? Let's see, I think I have my book right here. Yeah, if you're not familiar with my book, Angels, Herpes, and Psychedelics. Obviously, herpes is on the title, and I do tell a very vulnerable story, so thank you for acknowledging that. And I'm happy to say that it's not something that bothers me at all today. And it's one of the reasons why I feel Spirit called me to put it on the book, is that, it's really about getting through the mind viruses. It's the mind virus of what everybody else wants to project onto the herpes virus as bad, especially because it's related to a sexually transmitted disease, right? So there's like, oh, just like AIDS, it was like HIV. It was associated with years ago with homosexuals, right? There was these words that were so triggering. I love that herpes is on the title. I know it triggers a lot of people, and some people don't buy my book because it says herpes. They're like, I don't have herpes and I don't want herpes, or I have herpes and I don't want to talk about herpes, or whatever. But it's a mind virus that we want to separate ourselves and think that we're damaged goods, or that any of these ideas that are out there in the collective, we just need to release them. And I have so many videos on herpes. You can see in my YouTube channel on the playlist, Herpes. Great talks with lots of people around herpes, my own experiences with herpes. There's a herpes handbook that's on my website, bethbell.me. So please, there's so many resources. If you have herpes, know that the suffering can end right now. If you don't have herpes, but you know someone that does, maybe dig in a little bit deeper into the psyche of it all, because whether it's herpes or it's the next, virus that scares everyone, it's all about fear. And that's what we're here to do, is to release fear and move it into love for ourselves. And so I'll leave it with that, because as I said, there's so many other videos that I've talked about herpes, and I appreciate you bringing it up. I absolutely love talking about it, because I think that once you get to the other side of the ideas around it, it's so beautiful. And, one last thing that comes to mind to say is that, secrets will eat you up. The lack of truth telling will burn you down. And when you are just a truth teller, that vulnerability, and of course you use it with discernment. I'm not saying you I don't run out on the street and tell everybody, herpes, no. But you use your discernment, but you are open, you're open-hearted. It's not something that needs to trigger you, and it's not something that needs to trigger others either. If you have any experience with this topic, maybe you even ghosted somebody that told you vulnerably that they had it, and now you're feeling like, oh geez, was that the right thing to do? Learn about it. Let's heal this, because if we can heal that virus in our minds, we can heal any virus, honestly. But we got to do it together and not make people feel isolated, alone, shame. I so appreciate you joining the show. I would love for you to go to bethbell.me, because there are so many resources for you there. There's everything from the Psychedelic Resource Guide, the Herpes Handbook, the Awakening and Healing Handbook. There's the Angels, Herpes, and Psychedelics book, of course. So much more on there. So bethbell.me, check it out. I look forward to seeing you next week, Sunday, 11:11 a.m. on Pacific time, here on the YouTube channel at Beth Bell Live. So wishing you much bliss and love on life's journey, and see you next week.